Hi, and welcome back to Talk of the Town. It is finally warm enough to talk about this topic. Yeah. We're excited to talk about summer skincare. We're joined now by our news partner, the Medicine Shoppe Pharmacy in Monona, and owner Eric Hewitt is here. Thanks for being here.
Thanks again for having me back.
Glad to talk to you, and I'm so glad we can finally talk about skincare.
Yes, it's been a long haul.
Yeah, it means we're outside, we're having fun. But let's talk about a few key pointers that you have for us to keep ourselves protected this summer.
Yeah. So number one thing, and you hear it all the time, make sure you put sunscreen on before you get exposed to the sun. It's not always the easiest thing to remember that before we go out of the house, we got to put that stuff on. But immediately when you get out there, you start getting exposed. So put it on before. Make sure you have something that's a broad spectrum coverage that, high enough SPF, probably at least I would say 30 SPF, and something that's broad spectrum so it covers you. And then just make sure that you reapply. Just because you put it on before you leave the house doesn't mean it's going to last for the duration of time that you're going to be out there.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially when you've got kids out there too, because it's hard getting those little bodies reapplied sometimes, but so important.
It is, because it doesn't last forever, unfortunately.
About how long now do you think it lasts for some?
It really depends on your skincare type, or your skin type, I mean. Some people that are a little bit not as tan or don't come from a line that has a deeper complexion, they're gonna have to reapply more often. Maybe up to every hour or 2 hours kind of a thing. Some people that are a little bit more dark complected, maybe a little bit less often, maybe every 2 to 3 hours, that kind of thing.
Sure.
But so I would say a couple hours, especially if you're in straight sunlight, it's not a bad idea to reapply.
Yeah, absolutely, especially on the water with all the reflection and such. I'm about every 10 minutes. I'm kind of close to it, I should. Let's talk a little bit about the different kinds of sunscreens that are offered, because there's all these different choices, right? You got your spray, you got your lotion, you've got waterproof, sweat-proof. What are some of the pros and cons, or what should we be choosing?
Obviously, the continuous spray stuff is really convenient. I mean, with my kids, we use it all the time. It's so much more convenient, especially with faces and necks and that kind of stuff. But sometimes you're relying on, obviously, aerosols to give coverage, and it's not going to give as even a coverage as the old-fashioned putting the lotion on, that kind of thing. As far as waterproof and sweat-proof go, they help, but nothing is waterproof, nothing is sweat-proof. So if you're out swimming, again, you're going to have to apply it more often, because there really is no such thing as just putting it on. It's going to stay on no matter what. So those things are better in those types of situations, but saying they're completely waterproof or completely sweat-proof is not really truly the case.
Yeah, and you don't want to let that give you sort of a false sense of security.
Exactly.
So careful of those.
We've probably all been there too, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I've learned from experience. Let's talk about this, because I think this is one that's important, where if some of these things you did already know, here's one that you may not think about too much, which is the combination of medication and skin sensitivity. That can be a big troublemaker for some folks if you don't know if yourself or your kid is on a certain medication that causes issues. So chat with us.
Absolutely. And that's something that people may not be used to, because maybe they just got put on a medication. There are a few broad classes of medications that can cause that. Always, again, talk to your pharmacist to know whether or not you're on a specific one, but things like antibiotics. Not all antibiotics, but some antibiotics can cause sun sensitivity. Some blood pressure medications, some anti-seizure medications, those types of things can have these sun sensitivities that make you more sensitive to sunlight and have you get burned easier when you're out and exposed to sun. Really
good pointers. Think about how many times your kids go on antibiotics in the course of a lifetime, probably one or at least once or twice. So really good point. Now, if we didn't listen to anything you just said and we get sunburned, what are some good remedies for us?
The old tried and true aloe is one of the best things that you can do. It helps to moisturize, it helps to kind of cool the skin, that kind of thing. But again, staying moisturized, your skin gets sunburned, it gets damaged, and then it gets really dry, and you start to peel and itch and that kind of thing. So make sure the skin stays moisturized is also a good thing. But tried and true aloe, you can't get better than that.
All right, that's a good tip, the real deal. Well, thank you so much for sharing this. Again, is Eric Hewitt, owner of Medicine Shoppe Pharmacy in Monona, right on Monona Drive. Thanks for the pointers. We appreciate it. Thank you so much to all of our guests for being with us today, and I want to thank you at home for watching. Please join us next time for Talk of the Town.